All right, guys, in this video, we're going to unpack a powerful scene in one of the best relationship movies that I've seen in a long time. It's called The Marriage Story. Whoever the writers were and the director were, they literally caught what so many people experience in their normal, everyday marital situations. The writing is impeccable. Let's enjoy the video.
You're being so much like your father.
Do not compare me to my father.
I didn't compare you to him. I said you were acting like him.
You're exactly like your mother. Everything you're complaining about her, you're doing. You're suffocating Henry.
First of all, I love my mother. She was a wonderful mother.
Just repeating what you told me.
Secondly, how dare you compare my mothering to my mother? I may be like my father, but I am not like my mother.
You are! And you're like my father. You're also like my mother. You're all the bad things about all of these people. But mostly...
This is a huge one, being compared to your parents. Now, even though this was an intense scene, it was kind of comical, at the same time, because in essence, he said, you're like your mother and your father and my mother. You are all the bad of all of these people. As we grew up as children, we learn by observation and participation. So now either you're going to be just like your parents or you're going to choose to become the total opposite of your parents. Just as we are shaped in the image and likeness of God, in the earth realm, we are shaped in the image and likeness of our parents. And we pick up both their good and bad habits. But in all seriousness, we are our parents. And so in our process of personal growth and development, it's your job to hold on to all of the great things that your parents have poured into you and to begin to release and shed all of the negative things so that it doesn't impact your marriage.
These people, but mostly your mother. When we would lie in bed together, sometimes I would look at you and see her and just feel so gross.
I felt repulsed when you touched me.
You're a slob. I made all the beds, closed all the cabinets, took care of you like an
infant. Makes me want to peel my skin off.
You'll never be happy. And now lay her anywhere. You think you found some better opposite guy than me, and in a few years, you rebel against him.
Now, one of the things about arguments that you got to remember, do your best to avoid them. And the way that you avoid them is to never share your feelings when you're in your feelings. Because when you do that, something always is going to go wrong. Because once we get in the midst of it, it's hard to pull ourselves out because you have a very no holds bars mentality. And so a lot of those suppressed issues that have been brewing on the inside of you, you will vomit out in the midst of a conversation. And oftentimes it's not about what we say, but how we say what we say. And so in this scene, insults are hurled back and forth. So whether he's calling her a slob or whether she's saying that she's repulsed every time he touches her, these are some hurtful words. Months and years down the line, oftentimes we still hold on to the painful words that we used when we were in the heat of the moment. So do your best, avoid these arguments.
Never be happy. And now lay her anywhere. You think you found some better opposite guy than me, and in a few years, you rebel against him because you need to have your voice. But you don't want a voice, you just want to complain about not having a voice.
I think about being married to you, and that woman is a stranger to me. I mean, we had a child's marriage.
You've gone back to your life before you met me. It's pathetic.
People used to tell me that you were too selfish to be a great artist. And I used to defend you. They were absolutely right.
This often happens in relationships where an individual feels as if they've lost their voice. Because once they got married, they took on a new identity, a new role, a new way of life, and a part of them died. And in that process, they lost their voice, they've lost their identity, they've lost their sense of self. Sometimes the best of who they are gets buried and killed because the focus is now outwardly, it is otherly. It is the role of a husband to take care of the wife and kids. It's the role of the wife to take care of the husband and the children. And so you find yourself in a position where, well, what about me? I don't even know who I am anymore. And it speaks true to her statement when she says, I think about being married to you and that woman is a stranger to me.
You always made me aware of what I was doing wrong, how I was falling short. Life with you was joyless.
So then you had to go and someone else?
You shouldn't be upset that you should be upset that I had to laugh with her.
Do you love her?
No, but she didn't hate me. You hated me.
You hated me. You somebody we worked with.
You see, typically there are relational issues or emotional issues that, if not dealt with, can cause problem areas, particularly in the area of sexuality. But what's deep, the mismanagement of sex, whether within the relationship or outside the relationship, is nothing more than an outward manifestation of a deeper internal problem. Consider the fact that they both cheated. He cheated on his wife with someone else. She cheated him out of sex while in the relationship. Selah, think about it.
What?
You're so merged with your own selfishness, you don't even identify it as selfishness anymore. You're such a...
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I could guarantee Henry would be okay, I'd hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
Now, this was the buildup. This was the volcanic explosion. As they say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never harm you, is a lie. These were some damaging words. And that's why we got to be careful when we're engaging in conversations, that when we feel that we've gotten to a place of no return, we need to stop. This is by far one of the most powerful scenes in the movie, because you can see his anger, his rage, his sadness, his desperation. I mean, because he was in essence fighting for something that she no longer wanted. This was a cry for help. It was a cry of desperation. In fact, as powerful as his words were, the tears spoke louder than the actual statement that he made. To go from such a painful statement to tears where he falls on the floor. I mean, he was crying from his belly. His tears were communicating, I don't want this. I want things to go back to normal. I want the life that we once had. But he knew that they reached a point of no return. So the wife is experiencing this, hearing her husband say the most painful words that he's ever articulated, and then falls to the ground in tears. Immediately she knew he's speaking out of his pain. And rather than meeting fire with fire, she consoles him. And they hold each other in a compassionate embrace until the scene ends.